So, good morning, everyone. Today is the day number 9 of the bootcamp. We are toward the end of this nice journey. Today, we will have a keynote speech by Professor Edwin Khundi from Malawi University of Science and Technology. And later in the afternoon, I'm inviting you to join a special session for the awarding ceremony of the UBORA Design Competition 2020. Later, at the end of the keynote speech, I will provide you some advice regarding the final presentation for tomorrow, so you can be ready together with your mentors to have a good presentation of your project. So welcome to Edwin. Introduce yourself and feel free to talk the time that you need. Is good for presenting your keynote.
All right, hello everyone. So my talk is actually short. The title of my talk is The Impact of Communicable Diseases on Rehabilitation System from Developed and Developing Countries. I chose this topic because there was a report from the World Health Organization that there is need to include policies about rehabilitation systems at government levels, because people with disabilities have been affected heavily by COVID-19. So can you just confirm that you can see my screen and you can hear me?
We can see your screen. If you put in the presentation mode, we can see even better.
All right, okay. All right, thank you.
Let's wait for 1 second because it looks, so it's working. We can see properly. You can go.
Okay, fine. All right, okay. All righty, so I'll start with
now we stop it to see your presentation. We just see your...
Yeah, I don't know what happened actually, but let me just open it again and share again. I think it crashed. Yeah.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Problem with the presentation with PowerPoint?
Yeah, so it's opening and I'll actually start.
Okay, don't worry, don't worry.
Yeah, so.
When you are live, I mean, these are the problems, so don't worry.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
So in the meantime, where are you, Edwin? We see like a beautiful green area.
Yeah, so I'm just actually outside the flat. So I'm on the benches actually, yeah.
It works, we can see your screen.
Okay, fine. So I think I already mentioned the title of my talk. So I'll start my talk with quotes from the Chartered Society of Physiotherapy and from WHO. So it says rehabilitation, including physiotherapy, is essential in saving the lives of people with COVID-19. Okay, while the WHO quotation says that rehabilitation services have been disrupted in almost 2/3 of countries even though rehabilitation is key to a healthy recovery following severe illness from COVID-19. Okay, so we can see that COVID-19 has caused a lot of negative impact on the rehabilitation services in many countries. So this is a challenge that we innovators, can find solution and try to intervene. Okay, so communicable diseases. These are diseases that you can pass to another person through contact, and the major examples that have been linked to causing disabilities include polio, malaria, and leprosy. So, for example, COVID-19, it can cause acute limb ischemia or sepsis, which can lead to actually amputation of limbs. For example, in the mainstream media, it was reported that an actor, Nick Cordero, had his right leg amputated after suffering complication due to coronavirus. So we can see that infectious disease, can cause different forms of disability on people. So despite the infectious diseases causing direct disability, it also disrupts rehabilitation services. And I'll actually show you a report from the World Health Organization that actually shows that services have been heavily disrupted in different countries. So there is a need to find a solution that can actually improve access to rehabilitation system in different countries. Just to give you an overview of disability globally, 15% of the world population have got some form of disability. And 80% of those people live in low and middle income countries or developing countries. And this is like a challenge on another challenge. So there is poverty, there is also a lot of disability. So we need to address this challenge. And people with disabilities, their function can be improved through rehabilitation. And this can be occupational, which involves actually improving how actually they assist themselves, how they feed themselves, or how they take care of themselves. Or it can be physical, which relates to mobility, how they move from one place to another. It can be cognitive or speech, which focuses about the mind or the psychology of people. Right, so I'll show you graph. This is from Malawi. So it shows like different causes of disability. And I actually focused much on the, like for example, if you look at leprosy, polio, malaria, these are some of the infectious diseases which actually contributing substantially in terms of figures of people who require either orthosis or prosthesis from rehabilitation institution. And when you look at the kind of rehabilitation services that actually they actually seek, despite the need of just new orthosis or prosthesis, they actually also require maintenance of their assistive devices. And the need for just maintenance is actually greater than the need of just the need of new orthoses or prostheses. We can see that the rehabilitation service need has got different forms, just from the need to acquire orthoses or prostheses, but also requiring maintenance of those devices. Okay, so in overview, there are three major causes of disability: infectious diseases, trauma, and non-communicable diseases. Okay. During this period of lockdown or of COVID-19, there have been proposals actually of new methods to improve access of rehabilitation services. And one of them is virtual rehabilitation, where you actually help the patient or the subject remotely. But this is actually limited to the type of intervention. Some are actually rehabilitation, so where actually you actually anticipate what kind of rehabilitation services a person may need, and you give that in advance before the person actually ask for that service. So if you can see some of the devices just that actually improve lives of people with disabilities, ranges from wheelchairs, crutches, and artificial limbs. Okay, I would like to point out, like for the wheelchairs, like in the hospitals, they're actually usable. So what is happening in some hospitals is that because of COVID-19, there is relocation of these assistive devices from rehabilitation centers to other departments within the hospital. And that is actually affecting, the rehabilitation services in different countries. Okay. Also like to point out policies that government actually, they need actually to follow, or that actually some government are already implementing to improve lives of people with disability. So in developing countries, I think it's not much big issues because they have got resources, so they have clear policies already in place. While in actually developing countries, that is not the case. Okay, and the World Health Organization reported that globally, 2/3 of countries included policies, about non-communicable delivery services and their COVID-19 preparedness. Okay. So if you can see the percentage, the highest percentage is that from high-income countries, while for developing countries, only 42% actually considered, rehabilitation as part of their COVID-19 preparedness. So there is actually a need of awareness, just awareness, to different experts like us as innovators, but also even to our governments to actually, incorporate rehabilitation in their plan, but also for future purposes. If you can remember the other slide that I showed you, you can see that currently, people who suffered polio, who were amputated because of polio or leprosy, they still access rehabilitation services up to now. So infectious disease leave a permanent mark, which requires a long-term intervention. So the World Health Organization has also developed disability inclusive response to COVID-19. It's a good document. I do recommend that if you have time, you go through it. And as innovators, you can find actually guidelines on how you can help people with disabilities. So in conclusion, I can say COVID-19 has caused dramatic effects. And we know that in different countries, especially those in low and middle income countries, they have been relocating services, be it health workers, assistive devices, financial resources, and channeling it to, other departments away from rehabilitation service centers. So this has caused access to rehabilitation services a challenge. And hence there is need for us, to consider technological innovative solutions to address such kind of problem. In developed countries, they are using virtual rehabilitation, and there is need to actually see if that can work in low and middle income countries. Of course, there is technological gap. However, I think as innovators, we can find a way of addressing that. So thank you. That's the end of my short presentation.
So Edwin, thank you very much. It's a very interesting, different point of view. I mean, usually in this period we are thinking just how to protect ourselves, but there is a frail population also to protect. Any question from the audience?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good
Yes,
afternoon.
you can go.
Okay. Based on what you have said as regards to rehabilitation, looking at it from this angle, here in Africa, like where I'm from Maiduguri, precisely in northeast Nigeria, where has been affected by the extremists, in conjunction with the COVID-19, and it has really affected the people in the sense that their psychological way of reasoning has been altered, and which simply need rehab, in the sense of trying to restate these people by bringing them back to normal. So like what you just said this morning, it gives me a kind of clue to have an innovation or to be a creative thinker, think on how to come about a solution this particular case, to using technology, like as the case may be for now. So what I wanted to ask from you, because I felt you are, I think you are very knowledgeable in this particular discipline. So I was thinking if there's any way I can have a contact with you, maybe probably if there's anything I come up with, maybe then I can reach out to you, or like I'm just trying to see a way to work with you, maybe just be a mentor. I can try to look for different forms of way to bring people who have other innovative ideas as to incorporate our work into technology, because I have different developers that are competent and well experienced from diverse countries. So I just want to know if such a medium can be given, opportunity can be given to me, so that we look for a better way to serve our continent, to serve our country and Africa, to brighten it up with all we need to do as people who are supposed to, have that humanitarian mind, as regards to tackle one of the sustainable development goals. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. So yeah, I think thanks for the comment. Yeah, so you can have actually my contact. Everyone who wants to contact me, my details are actually also on the UBORA platform. But I think you can also put my email on the chat so that everyone actually can get access of it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks.
Any other comments or questions for Edwin? Edwin, I have actually a question. So consider that some people who need rehabilitation are really old. Do you think that even for those people, technology like apps or other type of virtual rehabilitation are helpful, or we need to find other solution?
All right. So in developed countries, the demographics for people with disabilities, yeah, really they're kind of over 60 years old. But in developing countries, actually the majority of them are less than 25 years. So that's how different the demographics are. So I think for low and middle income countries, we are dealing with a youthful population that, can actually handle technology. But yeah, there is also need actually to explore ways on how to address the same on people who are actually over 60 years old and may not actually like technology.
I think a good point. It's important to know who is your target population. So
Yeah.
really, really good point. Question, guys? If not, I really thank Edwin. I'm inviting him to upload the presentation on the shared folder, or you can send me directly. I can upload it for all the participants. So thanks again. I'm stopping the registration.
All right. Thank you.